Good day, and welcome to the SNN.Network Summer Virtual Event. Our next presenting company is Elixinol Wellness. It is now my pleasure to turn the floor over to Oliver Horne, Global CEO of Elixinol Wellness, dialing in from Australia today. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and good evening and to everyone joining, and thank you very much for giving us your time. I'm the Global CEO from Elixinol Wellness, and what I'd like today is to demonstrate to you on how we are creating a real global, flourishing, plant-based nutraceuticals and hemp foods business. Over the course of the last year, we've been going through significant transformation efforts across the entire business, and I'm really proud to be reporting to you today the progress that we made and the very positive outlook that we're seeing for the business and the industry that we are operating in. Our ambition is to create a global nutraceuticals and hemp foods business, and I'm here today joined by our Global Chief Financial Officer, Ron Dufficy, who is on the call as well, who will talk to the financials, and Rob Hasselman, our President Americas, who is based in Colorado. And those are just two of our great talented senior leaders that we brought into the business and have been running the business through this transformation period, to giving us great results that we're demonstrating to you today. We've built over the course of the last couple of years a truly global business, and that's really setting us apart from a lot of our competitors. Currently, we're having a strong base in the Americas, based in Colorado. Half of our revenues coming out of the Americas market is purely focused on CBD nutraceuticals, where we have been a pioneer in the industry, really established since 2014, running a business of about 26 people. They're a very lean business focused on marketing, selling our CBD nutraceutical products there. The second part of our business is the Australia business, which is centered really around hemp foods, and that is really hemp proteins, hemp seeds, hemp nutraceutical products, but also hemp skincare products called Hemp Foods Australia, accounting for around 40% of our revenues. And it's also here in Australia that our global corporate head offices are. We're listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, on the ASX, but we're also listed on the OTCQB in the US. Additionally, we're building a global base through our European business, where we have a Dutch and a English entity. Our headquarters are really in London. Currently still small revenues, but we are expecting them to grow very quickly as regulation changes in favor of our industry. And then we're working with various partners around the world to build a global footprint. Now, only in the last 48 hours, we announced our half-yearly results to the ASX, and we're very happy to report a 53% EBITDA improvement versus the prior half in H1 F20. This is the best EBITDA result that we have seen so far in the last couple of years, and is really supported by all of our regions going through a massive transformation efforts that we will highlight in more detail in later slides. But just to touch on a few things here, the U.S. operations in itself, is now a very lean business that is focused on e-commerce predominantly. Higher margin delivery has been growing in the last quarter at 4%, showing great momentum. Our Hemp Foods Australia business, 40% of our revenue, growing at 19% in the last quarter. And Europe, we've taken an early position to get into this market, which is fastly regulating in favor of the CBD industry, and we're seeing great upsides to materialize. So all in all, we're very feeling positive about the outlook, particularly in the U.S. market, as our U.S. market recovers in a post-COVID environment and the economy is kickstarting. We're launching new products, which we're giving you a preview of shortly. We have a very strong e-commerce capability, plus we now build a platform, a business on a lean cost base with high margins that is really allowing us, to drive growth for the foreseeable future. These are some of our financial highlights that you see in front of you, and I've commented already on our EBITDA results. Still, we are losing 7.1 million, but it's all going in the right direction, and you can see, how we improved our EBITDA result dramatically, over the last couple of years. And that is really a result of our vastly reduced cost base, 44% down, half on half. So a great achievement, and We've done that across all business units, including our corporate cost base, significant cost reductions. On the back of that, we can also be proud to be very, robustly funded with $90 million of cash in the bank at the moment after a very successful capital raise towards the end of last year. And that really gives us sufficient runway, or at least over the next 6 quarters, to invest into growing the business and driving our revenues. And you can see on the right-hand side here of that slide how our revenues declined half on half here, so H1 20 versus H1 this calendar year, largely due to COVID-related impacts, but also somewhat through the CBD consolidation that we are seeing in the U.S. market. Now, as I said previously, our business went through a significant transformational stage to really center our business around consumer products. We used to be a B2B and private label supplier making lower margins but higher volumes, and you can see that reflected in our revenue lines. But what we are incredibly proud of is not only have we got a lower cost base, we're seeing revenue returning through our core business units, which are accounting for over 90% of our revenues, which is the US and Hemp Foods Australia. But importantly, we shifted the business to a 52% gross margin average from 37% only a year ago. So we're really seeing that we drive towards margin accretion, and what you can later see in our gross margin delivery, despite reduced revenues, we're generating very profitable gross margins, which are prepping up our EBITDA result. At the heart of our business is our Elixinol brand, really. This is our global brand, a first mover in the CBD category. And our secret sauce really here is that we're not a straight CBD brand. We are powered by CBD, but we're really producing nutraceuticals. So we're working with other actives and creating really complex, scientifically based formulas that are efficacious in nature and allow us to make us health claims. And we're marketing our brands, across the world as a nutraceutical, so not just straight as a CBD brand. So we're really breaking the mold. We're very different to other CBD players in that space, and we're priding ourselves not only on the efficacy but also the quality of our product. We've been very active in launching new products. You see here a quick summation of our products with new ingredients, so those gin forts, new absorption technologies, water-soluble products, that you can dissolve really in any liquid to absorb them much faster. So we're really much on the forefront of innovation in that sector. And as a result of that, we're constantly gaining new distribution points. And on the right-hand side here, you see just a few of them. And what we're really proud of, for example, in the UK is that national distribution and Superdrug in one of the biggest drug stores. On top of that, we're obviously really well distributed across the US as well. They recently launched or signed a distribution agreement with CBD Emporium. We are in the US with just 30 stores, but also a great web presence as well. So we're building our distribution very, very rapidly for the brand on the back of great products and great marketing support. The second part of our portfolio is really Hemp Foods Australia here, where we have a market leadership position in the Australian market. And you actually see on the left-hand side, Chris Hemsworth here. He's been actually seen and spotted buying our hemp foods, seeds. You can see it in the shopping basket there. We really are a household name when it comes to the hemp category here in Australia, rejuvenating our product offering through new core range. But at the same time as we're innovating, we also optimized our portfolio, walking away from lower margin products to replace them with higher margin products. And you can see as a result that our margin has really improved quite significantly, and that business is nearing breaking even, with lots of upside as a consumer trend really is really much in favor of plant-based nutrition. A core part of our strategy, global strategy, will continue to be investing in our digital and e-commerce capabilities. And particularly in CBD, we know that millennials are the key purchasers of CBD products. And those are predominantly consumed or purchased over the e-commerce channel. And we're very gladly to report that after investing a year into building a world-class digital community and capability, all of our businesses are performing extremely strong in our channels with high conversion rates, strong revenue growth, average order value going up. So across the group global business, we're really transforming our business to a digital native business, and that's showing great results, not only in the revenue growth, but more importantly, in terms of margin accretion, which is so important for us to restore profitability, to our business. I'd now like to hand over to our global CFO, Ron Dufficy, who will talk to you about our financial results. Ron, over to you.
Thank you, Oliver. The half year ending June 30 was definitely a challenging trading period, especially true for our US and UK businesses, which navigated significant COVID impacts, resulting in a period of consolidation for the CBD category. However, we're pleased to report financial results that reflect the optimization of our business model, which has resulted in significant improvement to our bottom line. By focusing on higher margin branded products and e-commerce channels, our US business has increased margins from 44% to 72%, whilst at the same time reducing its cost base by 58%. This has resulted in a $5.6 million or 59% improvement in EBITDA. Whilst the industry in the UK awaits a regulatory clarity, our European business has more than halved its cost base, resulting in a 54% EBITDA improvement. Our hemp foods business in Australia has improved its margins by 4 basis points through exiting low margin business, and has also reduced operating costs by a further 20%, which has led to a 50% EBITDA improvement. Excluding non-recurring transaction costs, our corporate team has also reduced operating costs by 40%, leading to a 52% EBITDA improvement. So overall, through optimization of our business model and ongoing tight cost control, all business units have reported significant EBITDA improvement. At a group level, whilst revenues were down 39%, our gross profit was down by only 17%. A simplified strategy to focus on higher margin branded products and e-commerce channels has yielded a dramatic improvement in overall gross margins, which increased from 37% in half 1 2020 to 52% in half 1 2021. Optimizing the cost base to support our simplified strategy has resulted in reducing operating expenses across all areas of the business, leading to an overall cost reduction of 44% versus the prior corresponding period. Despite revenues declining, we have still managed to report significant profitability improvement. Cash flow improvement in key metrics has also driven a notable improvement in our cash funding requirements. The cash used in operations improved by 47% from 15.2 to 8 million, which included $1 million of non-recurring costs. This also represents a 2.6 million reduction, or an 18% improvement, versus the half year ending December 2020. Our cash on hand of $19 million represents more than 6 quarters of funding requirements based on our June quarter. However, we expect our cash funding requirements to reduce over time as we yield the benefits of ongoing cost reduction and additional growth drivers moving forward. Our overall financial position is where we have a very resilient balance sheet. We have virtually no debt, and we have a very capital-light business model. Back to you, Oliver.
Thank you very much, Ron, for the summary. I'd like to now talk to you about the outlook for the company and how well we have positioned for future growth. Now, this is a McKinsey model that you see in front of you on how consumers see the wellness industry. And it's really important to understand that we are really well positioned towards global macro consumer trends in the wellness category. 79% of consumers say that they believe wellness is important. 42% consider it a top priority. And there's really 6 pillars that you see outlined here. And our products, whether it's the hemp foods products or Elixinol nutraceutical products, are really extremely well positioned to service the 5 of those 6 consumer needs. So one of the things that we are extremely proud of is being a first mover in a very nascent wellness industry of CBD and hemp foods, and having a leadership positions with very strong brands, to benefit from macroeconomic, macro consumer trends and the tailwinds that resulting out of that. At this stage, I might want to hand to Rob Hasselman, our President of Americas, to talk to you a bit more about the outlook of the U.S. industry and our position within the U.S. CBD industry. Rob, over to you.
Thank you, Oliver. Good afternoon, everybody. Rob Hasselman, President of the Americas. When you take a look at the U.S. business and the current regulatory framework and growth opportunities, Brightfield has projected what we believe is some nice, robust, sustained growth from an outlook perspective at a CAGR of 28%. And then when you look at the regulatory framework, obviously the market remains fragmented and highly competitive, but there are a number of initiatives underway to bring CBD to more consumers in the United States. There are a few companies that have tried to file new dietary ingredient filings with the FDA that essentially demonstrate product safety and that the products would be used as directed per the product label. And each company that has attempted to do so has failed. And the reason being is that FDA currently views CBD as an approved drug with the prescription drug Epidiolex, which is used for seizure management. So what that means more than likely is that we're looking at a congressional pathway for approval here for CBD products. And there are really two major bills that are going through both the House and the Senate. The first is H.R. 41. And then the second, I'm sorry, there's a typo here, but that's a Senate Bill 1698, and that's the Hemp Access and Consumer Safety Act. Both of these have very strong bipartisan support. They're working their way through both chambers of the House now, and that's how we anticipate the market, coming to fruition here in the U.S. There's also the Consumer Brands Association working to approve this category, and it's widely expected that we should see progress sometime within the next 18 months where this category will really open up. And just to comment on kind of the U.S. business and how it's evolving, I think in the short term it's all about e-commerce and for us, especially at Elixinol, and driving growth there. And I'll talk more about that strategic initiative in a minute. But from the current retail kind of brick and mortar environment, the category is returning to growth. It's now stable. It's not where it was at pre-COVID levels, but it's getting there. Foot traffic is returning. Immunizations are helping to drive that in the drug class of trade. But for the most part, many larger retailers are marketing either topicals only or waiting altogether for FDA guidance. And when that approval becomes clear, we're going to see some massive growth in the category as the mass class of trade comes on board, specifically Walmart and Target, as well as the opportunity for ingestibles, which is the consumer preferred form, your gummies and tinctures, become widely available. Those retailers today that have taken the step into marketing ingestibles do 5 to 20 times better than like retailers that market only topicals. So we really see a really robust future environment here. So talking about our global strategic initiatives, we have obviously focused on building profitability, but we have a number of initiatives that we think will accelerate growth for us in the back half of the year and beyond. And really we're talking about our most established markets, both Australia and the U.S. for the moment, while we're closely monitoring the regulatory progress in the EU and UK. So our first strategic initiative is all about accelerating e-commerce. We think here in the U.S. we've built a world-class e-commerce team which has made significant progress on increasing top-of-funnel traffic or visits to the site, improving our overall user experience in such places as navigation, simplified checkouts, and dramatically improving the mobile experience, which really wasn't there as much as 6 months ago. So what this is all leading to is better engagement or more time on our site, where the average user is spending over 3 minutes on the site with each visit. And our conversion metrics are best in class. Over the last 6 months, we've averaged just north of 6% conversion rate. And over the past 2 months, we've seen even more improvement with a conversion rate of over 7%. So we're excited about our progress there. We're also close to launching both loyalty and subscription programs, which we know will appeal to our very devoted Elixinol user base. The second key initiative for us is to broaden our national retail footprint. This is really low-hanging fruit for us, as a majority of our sales are through the e-commerce channel. In the U.S., here we're a few weeks away from signing an agreement with a well-respected national sales broker, which will provide us access to the accounts that are currently winning in CBD, but it also will allow for introduction to accounts where CBD is being considered, specifically the Walmarts and the Targets of the world that I mentioned. In Australia and the UK, Oliver mentioned the efforts underway to broaden the retail footprint there. The third key initiative for us is to innovate in functional foods and nutraceuticals. We will be aggressively launching new products within CBD, expanding into functional foods at first in Australia, and all of these new items will be differentiated to a degree via science, claims, formulation, and technology, and that's where we think we can really win. And then the fourth and final initiative, which has been talked about by both Oliver and Ron, is our continued pursuit of improving profitability through the business optimization. And we are getting closer to our goal of being a true capital-light, efficient operating model. We're very close, but we have some work that we can still do. And we anticipate having a fully outsourced supply chain by the first quarter of fiscal year 2022, and we'll be looking at reducing costs through further organizational optimization and reducing costs with external partners. When you talk about new product development initiatives, we've completed some fairly extensive market research across the regions that have provided us with an informed and validated pipeline that's really based on the latest consumer trends and scientific research. With Elixinol, we'll enter new consumer occasions and recruit new users with these products. And in the back half of this year, we'll launch into two new segments, pet wellness and zero THC products. With pet, we know that 50% of our loyal Elixinol consumers own pets, and the market data suggests that 25% of current CBD users also give CBD that are animals. So our loyal consumers are currently going other places to find a solution. So we think entering pet is a great way to build a basket, drive some incremental volume, and we think will likely result in a nice strategic platform for us to innovate on in the future. We all know also with zero THC products, there's increasing demand for this as consumers become more interested, more aware, more accepting of CBD, and they wish to experience the benefits, but worry about the risk of testing positive on a drug test, especially frontline workers. So we're going to launch a focused assortment in that area with a targeted marketing plan behind it that will, we believe, drive some nice incremental growth for us in the back half of the year. And in the first half of 2022, we're really excited about this, launching a number of truly differentiated products across multiple segments, which we believe will bring new users into the brand, also build the basket with existing users. We're talking about some really unique products in the areas of beauty, mental wellness and focus, and fast absorption technology. And we're also building additional resources internally to help us successfully execute here. So that's the update on my end. Let me pass it over to Oliver to discuss Hemp Foods Australia innovation.
A great summary. Thank you very much, Rob. Look, Hemp Foods Australia, as I said, household name in the Australian market, the #1 hemp foods brand, and we're going through a whole new master rebranding exercise towards the end of the year. We'll have that ready, and we're going to be relaunching our entire new product ranges. But then we're also going to be expanding into new product categories. So we are going to go further and deeper into nutritional supplements. We're expanding the protein range, particularly plant-based proteins, a high-growth category, and we're looking to launch legal CBD alternatives here in Australia. The CBD market is differently regulated to the US, and we're finding solutions to navigate that very successfully as well. And then in H1 or the first half of next year, we already got new concepts that we're working on in immunity, digestive health, and movement kind of products that are all functional foods that are really giving us health benefits beyond just nutritional benefits. So really excited about where we can take our hemp foods business. I guess sort of in summary, and before we go to our Q&As, I hope that you can see that we are really creating the basis for a very flourishing, high-margin consumer products business in a nutraceutical and food space. And we've been extremely successful in creating a new team, a global leadership team, highly capable team on a much leaner cost basis with much better margin delivery, fresh new products And our Elixinol range has only been, by the way, relaunched over a year ago, just over a year ago. So really fresh new products with high science approach, and more products coming out. On top of that, a very strong balance sheet setting us up really nicely, to invest in those growth catalysts that we've worked so hard for. So having said all that, we are feeling extremely bullish about our future. We've got now a great team, a great cost base, great products, and the economic environment is shifting in our favor while consumers are going into plant-based and preventative health solutions, and that's where we are in a prime position. I'd like to thank you all for dialing in. I'm now going to go over to Q&As. We've got a couple of questions here coming through. Number one is, what would you say are some value catalysts for Elixinol for the rest of 21 and going into 22? Thank you very much for the question. So I think the first value catalyst for us is continuing the growth profile that we've seen coming out of the US and Hemp Foods Australia in particular. So you've seen that Hemp Foods Australia grew 19%, the US grew 4%. Now, those are all on an improved margin base and lower cost, so I think that will generate value through the second half. But we are also cautiously optimistic about an improving outlook in the European business. The European business declined due to regulatory change and COVID, but the UK has come out of COVID lockdowns in July, and we're seeing the economy kickstarting. We're actually expecting some positive revenue coming out of that and growth coming out of that. So across all business units, the organic part of the business should be growing as well. Another question that I have here is, Ron, this might be a question for you. How is your funding position and how will that set you up for the future? Are you going to have a capital raise anytime soon?
Thanks, Oliver. Well, we closed June with 19 million cash in the bank. Our most recent quarter, we used, excluding one-off items, non-recurring items, we used 3.6 million. So we've got more than 6 quarters on a historical run rate basis, but we know we have more than that because we've already taken decisions to reduce costs further and with a continued cost control focus, as well as the expectation of growth moving forward. So we feel quietly confident about our funding position.
All right. Thank you, Ron. The last question that we got is, what are your M&A plans? I might take that myself then. Look, for M&A, we're scanning the market for M&A opportunities. There's 2 areas of focus for us. One is our Australian base. We have a strong brand, a strong supply chain, a strong team, and in order to reduce execution risk of any transaction, we would be prioritizing an M&A acquisition here in the Australian market, given that we already have a break-even or profitable business model. However, we are very acutely aware that the US sees a consolidation happening in the industry. There are some distressed assets which we could integrate and pick up for a relative bargain, and we're actively on the lookout for those as well. But having said that, for us, the priority is to get our core businesses into a profitable and sustained revenue growth territory before we engage into any M&A that could have the potential to distract us. I think that's all for all the Q&A. Look, I hope that you can all see how we're creating a very flourishing business with a very positive outlook for the future. By all means, reach out to us directly. You can access all of our information on our investor website. We're a public listed company, so everything is there. All the presentation that we've given historically and every announcement will be there. So please, go to our investor website. Also, there's an email address that you can turn to for any further questions, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. So thank you very much for your time, and wishing you all the best.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude the Elixinol Wellness presentation. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect.